Hi, this is Todd Creager, and today I am talking about something that I just witnessed, which was the George Floyd verdict. And whenever you see this, hopefully it won't be too long after uh, today. I'm talking about the George Floyd verdict and the pain of invisibility. So I haven't planned anything. I was very touched by it. I, I look. I spend my time as a psychotherapist, a trauma therapist, and as a marriage therapist, helping people whose pain has been invisible. It's very painful, right? I talk a lot about gaslighting. Gaslighting is when the person who's a victim of gaslighting has been made to feel like they're a little crazy or something's wrong with them, and really their pain is invisible because the gaslighter is someone who's not willing to take a look at themselves, and it's difficult. It's a painful process for people to take a look at their own stuff, especially when they have the power in the relationship, for whatever reason. Sometimes it's because of gender. Sometimes it's because of money. Sometimes it's because of emotional makeup. It could be lots of reasons. But anyway, that's something I work with day in and day out, helping empower people that have been invisible. We know people that were molested for many, many years in the 1900s had to go invisible. And thank goodness now they could come out and be seen. And we have people of other different, lesbian, transgender, who now could come out and they don't have to be invisible. Well, now we had the Black Lives Matter movement, and we had the George Floyd case today. I was very nervous listening to the verdict. My heart was beating out of my chest, and I think I was so affected, as many people were, because I understood what this meant. I mean, not only do we want to honor that poor man who was murdered, but we realize that for hundreds of years, Black people, people of color, have had these experiences going on forever, for a long, long time. And yet their pain was not seen, was not taken seriously. Of course, we didn't have smartphones. I had Vice President Kamala Harris talking about smartphones. It was like all these wonderful things came together. Wonderful. It was a terrible thing that happened, but the wonderful thing was about the smartphones and the movement, and all these things came together to finally get this at least this verdict correct. Look, it's a sad thing. Somebody died. We have someone going to jail for many, many years. I mean, that's not something to celebrate in and of itself. But what we want to celebrate is that people of color experienced like their pain was being seen. This is what's happened. That's just one example. And there is no bigger pain than the pain of not being seen. So I'm kind of spontaneously talking about that. We have to talk about the people that are not seen and the people that are not seeing. Why do people not see? And the reason people don't see oftentimes is because they're not affected by it directly, number one. Number two, they've been conditioned to think about a certain problem or situation in a way that's not really accurate or true. And the third thing is it's painful to look at what the truth really is sometimes. I've had several people, when I've talked about these things, especially people that are long-term subscribers to my email, get mad at me when I talk about white privilege. White privilege, I'm a white guy, I'm a white male. Privilege doesn't mean I'm bad. That white privilege means that I have the some advantages that people that are not white don't have, that I necessarily I didn't earn it. Look, I've earned a lot of stuff. I've worked very hard, and many. I mean, that's true. That's true. But there are people that are people of color that haven't had the opportunities I've had. We need to realize that, right? And so it's hard for people in the dominant society, just like it's hard for someone who's dominating a relationship, to take a look at themselves, because it does involve recognizing the power differential and needing to give up some power for empathy, for caring, for understanding. I'm so convinced that this world will truly not get better in any way until we deal with the people that have been treated the worst. In the couples I treat, the marriage doesn't work until the person who doesn't have the power has more power. It doesn't ever, ever work. And we need to recognize that the pain of invisibility, the pain of not being acknowledged, is the worst pain there is. The worst pain there is. On the flip side of that, I think of a woman I knew, a client of mine who was molested when she was younger by her stepfather, who threatened her not to tell anybody. But she had a very good relationship with her mother, and she went to her mother and she told her what happened. And the mother was there for her and acknowledged her right then and there, acknowledged her pain, and then called the husband in. And she said, look, I know you threatened my daughter, but she told me, not only am I divorcing you, but I'm having you arrested. And all of that happened. And the person described how she never suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. So even though she went through this terrible ordeal, and it was just one time, but there was just no PTSD. Well, think about all the people of color who have gone through all this pain, which is traumatic enough, but how unacknowledged it's been for hundreds of years. And then you get this verdict, which is at least a beginning of acknowledgement. And I'm hoping it's just the beginning. I heard some touching words by the leaders of our country here, and I hope that we all follow through on those words. So as the people that have not been seen need to be seen, the people who haven't seen have to take a closer look at these people who haven't been seen and what they've gone through. And they have to take a closer look at themselves and what makes it so difficult for them to see. And isn't that the most important thing there is in life? To love and to care. So whether we're dealing with a micro issue, in other words, just a couple or a family or an individual, where we know that everybody needs to have power, or as of today, this moment of recognizing on a macro level, on a broader level, the importance of recognizing pain. We need to recognize it. We need to do something about it. And there's many things that can be done. I know that's my intent, to do even more than I've done, to be part of the solution so that all people can be heard and that pain does not go unnoticed and that we don't have people going around invisible. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. This is Todd Creager, making the world safe for love.